Okay, we're in Nevada in a place called Boulder City, and we're in a place called the Monster Museum, run by Tom
Devlin's Monster Museum.
And apparently Tom Devlin is a B, he's called the king of the B movies. He's worked on like every B movie you could think of.
It's amazing.
And he's gonna give us a tour of his shop. He's gonna give us a tour of his haunted house, his museum, and we're gonna learn about how he does special effects for real movies. So make sure you like and subscribe to our channel because we got some really cool videos for you, and this is probably the coolest one because we learned things we didn't even know.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Monster Museum. Tons and tons of autographs. And here is a arcade. And the two horror games don't work. Okay. Return of Swamp Thing. I loved those movies when I was a teenager. Puppet Master. And it looks like Tom here knows quite a few, because he's got a poster signed by basically everybody.
Geeky Tikis.
Oh, I know. Those are incredible.
I want Geeky Tikis in our
Yeah, you need to take a picture of that. Look at all the autographs.
They sell awesome.
You're not wrong. And they're selling DVDs, toys. And here is a Please Don't Touch. Looks like a gremlin spider. It could be from the movie. And I've always wanted one of these for the darkness. It's a pressed penny souvenir. And as you can see, it'll put his logo, or this place's logo, in it. Can you tell me a little bit about this place?
So, the owner, Tom Devlin,
Yes.
is an award-winning makeup effects artist.
Yes.
And he has created everything back in the museum. The museum starts right through these double doors, and then it goes along the whole back side of the building.
And I saw something over there called Fright Zone or something. What is that?
So back behind us, there is another building. That's where he has his shop at right now. And it turns into a haunt during October. And then in December, it turns into a Nightmare Before Christmas walkthrough.
Sure.
And they're actually going to open it one day this month. It's for an Easter haunt.
Hey, I'm Tom Devlin, and welcome to Tom Devlin's Monster Museum in Boulder City, Nevada.
And so what inspired you to do this in the middle of the desert?
So opening the Monster Museum in the middle of the desert is not everybody's ideal, oh my God, that's what I think of when I go to see the Hoover Dam. But really, it was the perfect place for us because it's just outside Las Vegas, the entertainment capital of the world. But where we are in Boulder, we can get away with some homemade, kind of kooky roadside attraction stuff, which is what this is. This is an ode to the Route 66 of yesteryear, kind of that wax museum, haunted chamber of horrors feel. And it really works for us being out here on the road to the Hoover Dam. So our goal is people are out here to see the Hoover Dam, and they see this place and they pull over and they forget all about the Hoover Dam.
What is the coolest thing you have in here?
You know, there's a lot of cool stuff. Everything within the museum I made, so it's all one-of-a-kind work of art. And I'd say my favorite pieces in the museum would be the puppets from the Puppet Master franchise.
Did you make those?
Yeah, I worked on the last 3 Puppet Master films, Axis Termination, Axis Rising, and Blade the Iron Cross. So those are all screen-used originals. And I got to build my childhood dream. I mean, that was what I was into when I was a kid.
And are you still working on movies or just doing haunts?
I still currently work on movies. We run a haunted house next door from the Monster Museum, and we also do a Halloween thing with the Monster Museum. But movies are my bread and butter, and this is my passion. This is just my hobby, really.
And so I noticed you have like a little cinema. Do you ever find yourself just going in there and watching a movie?
On the regular basis, we run documentaries in the sideshow, or the cinema sideshow. We run documentaries all day long. One in particular is called Making Apes. It's about Planet of the Apes. I'm a huge Apes fan, so I would wander in there and get lost for an hour and then come back out, you know, and
do you ever go to
conditioning's good, popcorn's good, so.
You ever go to Monster Palooza?
I've been to Monster Palooza quite a few times.
Yeah, so I guess that's like, you know, like just like your dream. Yeah. What would you rather do, Monster Palooza or Transworld?
I would prefer Transworld over Monster Palooza, because when I go to Transworld, I'm selling to haunts and independent businesses and people with great ideas and excitement. And when I go to Monster Palooza, as an industry, I've been doing effects for 22 years. It's kind of a pissing contest, I feel. I feel like there's a lot of judging that goes on at Monster Palooza. So I don't want to speak negative about the show because it's awesome as a fan. But as an industry professional, I feel like when I show up at Monster Palooza, it's a little bit less than fun, where Transworld is a family. You know, Haunter's a family, you know.
So tell us how to find your place.
So you can find Tom Devlin's Monster Museum. We're on every platform online, but when you get to Las Vegas, you just got to get on the 93. We're about 18 minutes off the Strip, and it's probably the coolest off-strip thing you will find yourself doing. We won Silver Award with Best in Vegas for museums. That means we beat out the Mob Museum, we beat out the Neon Museum, we beat out the Clark County Museum, and we're a little homegrown mom and pop deal, you know.
We'll go take a tour now.
Yeah, awesome. The business we're in.
All right, so Tom.
Yes.
You have a Monster Museum. It's right there behind those doors. It does say enter at your own risk. So Patty is concerned. Will she face, like, being killed, eaten, dismembered?
It's not. This Monster Museum is not a haunted attraction. This is a trip through history. It's educational. It is all about the art and history of practical makeup effects. If you read all the information in there, it's all about who did this and why this was done and why this is important. So,
well, can we fly through it?
Enter at your own risk is more like, if you trip, don't sue me.
All right, Patty, go on in. Patty, go on in. You got to go first. I'm a little nervous.
All right. I got you.
You never know what's behind locked doors.
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu. Now, you saying that you said that you sculpted everything in here, more or less.
Everything within the museum is handcrafted by myself, and it's not all screen accurate depictions. Like, this is not exactly what Count Warlock looked like, but this is my take on the character.
And we have Lon Chaney's Hunchback.
Of course, Lon Chaney being
the master of horror.
Yeah, I mean, he was the man of 1,000 faces, right?
And he's buried in the same mausoleum as his son.
That's awesome. Without Lon Chaney Sr., we might not have practical effects artists as myself today. He really did invent what we do.
And a lot of people have forgotten about him.
Yeah.
Because
and that's
his movies were like mostly silent movies.
That's kind of the point of the museum. Is a lot of people know that Boris Karloff played Frankenstein's monster,
and so did Lon Chaney Jr. and Bela Lugosi.
But not everybody knows that Jack Pierce created the makeups for Frankenstein's monster, Wolfman, the Mummy. He designed Dracula's makeup. People like Jack Pierce, who are long forgotten by the general public, are the most important part to
and Christopher Lee also played Frankenstein. Bela Lugosi played him, and so did Lon Chaney Jr.
Yes.
I don't like Bela Lugosi's Frankenstein or Christopher Lee's.
I love Christopher Lee's.
You do? I don't mind Lon Chaney Jr.'s, but
I love it, yeah.
But obviously nothing can replace Boris Karloff.
Of course. And then you have Strange. What about Glenn Strange?
Oh yeah, Glenn Strange, but like, he was kind of like the one, and I was like thinking of like the Bela Lugosi's, who's famous for Dracula, Lon Chaney's famous for Wolfman, but Christopher Lee became like one of the biggest stars in history at like 80 years old. I'm talking about like at 80 years old. Like he got to be like in Willy Wonka. He was in Sleepy Hollow, Star Wars. Yeah. I mean, like everything Lord of the Rings. Everything he's known for was nobody remembers he was really known for being Dracula.
He was one of the schlockiest Frankenstein monsters ever created.
Yeah, and he was Dracula, and then he also played the Mummy.
He was the first Dracula that actually had fangs, too. Because Bela Lugosi never had fangs.
I loved him as Dracula.
Yes.
Okay, now we have Creature in Black Lagoon.
Creature in Black Lagoon. This is probably one of my favorite pieces in the museum. And the reason for that is all of these characters I have molds for. If the whole place burned down, I could run another Wolfman, run another Frankenstein. I have the molds in storage. This Creature Black Lagoon is a one-off piece of art. It's sculpted on the mannequin and painted. It's not molded. So
I'm going to ask you a question. I'm a huge fan of Universal Studio Horror Monsters, and I'm sure you've heard Universal's opening a Monster Universal. They're opening a new theme park, and it's going to have Universal Monster section, which I'm excited about. It's going to have Frankenstein Castle Dark Ride. I'll be the first one in line. But take a guess. Which is my favorite Universal Studio monster?
Wolfman.
Wolfman. How'd you know that?
Because you're staring at him.
Yeah, and then who do you think is my second favorite?
Don't tell me the Mummy.
No.
Okay.
He's my least. Creature.
The Mummy is my least.
And Bela Lugosi Dracula. When I was a kid, every time I would...
The Mummy and Bela Lugosi Dracula, kind of the same movie.
Yeah.
They're so similar.
My favorite character to be was Bela Lugosi.
Yeah.
I would slick my hair back and put like baking, oil, fat, or whatever they get out of a big can, and slick my hair back. And I was always Dracula. So I have an affection for Dracula, but I just love the Creature in Black Lagoon.
And
I love Wolfman.
Yeah.
And my favorite movie was Wolfman vs. Frankenstein.
Really?
And I always wanted to have a different ending where Wolfman tore him limb to limb. We never got to see who won that fight.
Right. No, there is no winner.
I know. It's just because the water came in, and then they did a sequel. But who do you think won that fight if it would have played out?
If it would have been for real, I think Wolfman would have won that.
Yeah, Frankenstein has no shot.
Yeah, because Wolfman has got claws, and Frankenstein's sewed together. You can tear him back apart.
You know what? That really bad director who did Van Helsing. I hated the Frankenstein because he was just a wimp.
I love the look of him. Greg Canham did such a good job.
It's not that I didn't like the look, but Van Helsing, drugged him. He was beaten. He was beaten by everybody. Yeah. He's in a block of ice or whatever. He's captive, and it was a wimpy Frankenstein. Yeah. He had no it's what are you doing? Yeah. He was just so wimpy. And then when you look at the Boris Karloff Frankenstein running around the streets, he was more intimidating. Yeah,
he's just such a classic look, man. There's nothing. Every effects artist loves Frankenstein. That's the man that made the monster. I often, people say, Frankenstein's the doctor, not the monster, and I disagree 100% because a Picasso is a Picasso, right? If Frankenstein created that, my son is named Devlin as well as that monster is named Frankenstein. I don't care what anybody says.
And I see you have a Lon Chaney Jr.
Yeah, Lon Chaney Jr.
Life cast. Yeah. And then you have your favorite, Butch Patrick, the Munsters.
This is actually...
Patty!
This studio light was used on set of the Munsters.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, this was donated by a guy named Justin Scard, who's a good friend of the Monster Museum. And this was used in both McHale's Navy and the Munsters.
Patty said her favorite character in the whole place was...
What whole place?
was this one.
I did love him.
She loved him the most.
Yeah.
Butch Patrick.
Yeah. I built that because Butch was here shooting a horror show one day. And that night I was like, you know what? I got to make a figure of him. I don't have a figure of him. I just had Herman here, so I built Butch.
I think, and this is just my opinion, but I think most effects fans gravitate to Planet of the Apes.
Well, the thing is, without John Chambers' work on Planet of the Apes, there is no Freddy Krueger. There is no Hellboy. There is no... Foam latex was revolutionized by John Chambers and Tom Berman on Planet of the Apes.
And when you come to your museum, because you have all of these details about these people most people have never heard of.
Correct.
They learn about it.
They learn. And then there's stuff that people do know. A lot of people know about The Exorcist, but...
Dick Smith.
Dick Smith being the godfather of makeup.
And he won an Academy Award for this, right?
He did. And the crazy thing about Dick... He wasn't a horror guy. He did The Exorcist, but he was more known for work on, The Godfather, work like Taxi Driver.
Now, I have a question, and we want to get to the other parts of the museum. Linda Blair, who I know very well, and by the way, she's from St. Louis,
Okay.
where I'm from, was robbed of the Academy Award. And the controversy
This is a controversial
is
conversation.
because Dietz over there, who you have an autograph from
I've got
Linda
both.
Blair.
I got both.
I know. And you have Dietz. Is the rumor was that Dietz did a lot of the, the hard stuff.
It's not necessarily a rumor. I mean, it's pretty true.
I know, but do you think that Linda Blair should have won the Academy Award?
I don't.
Really? Why?
Because I think that I think if anything, they should have shared an Academy Award. Linda Blair acted as a little girl very well. She's a cute little girl and she did a great job. But within the makeup, the vomiting, the crotch shot with the cross, the stuff that people remember of The Exorcist, that was Eileen Dietz. That was not Linda Blair. They did not put a 9-year-old with a crucifix between her legs and have her say, "Fuck me, Jesus." It didn't happen.
So let me make a counter argument to that, okay? To me, the scariest parts of The Exorcist was not the ones you're mentioning. It was just the fact that she's tied up on the bed, and like the way the makeup and the whole look of her, and the way she talked to you, and like just when the dresser drawer opened.
There is no doubt that movie's terrifying and that those elements are scary. But to get an Academy Award for the best performance.
But you
shared that performance with somebody else.
But here's the thing: when you think of all the action movies and everything, like they have stunt doubles and they have all that. So Linda Blair, who's 10 years old or whatever, had a stunt double for some very provocative scenes.
And for most of the scenes in makeup, most of them. So it's a controversial conversation. I
will say this.
I think they're great. If you want to give Linda Blair a Academy Award, give it to her for Repossessed. I don't know.
Was that no, she was also in another great horror movie called Hell Night, was it?
Yeah, Hell Night's great.
That's a great movie.
I did a movie. I worked with William Friedkin, the director of Exorcist, on a movie called The Hunted with Tommy Lee Jones and Benicio del Toro. And it was rough, man. He's a very difficult human to work with. He's insane. And I understand why The Exorcist is such a great movie, because he did torture those people, and I think it's incredible.
I will go down saying that nobody remembers who won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor.
I don't know.
The year that Linda Blair, but everybody remembers Linda Blair.
Of course.
Period. End of story.
Sure.
And I think it's also would be fair to say other actors in that movie should have won Best Awards. The person who played her mother.
Oh yeah.
You really believe that her daughter was possessed?
Even Father Karras,
but why? Maybe in your opinion, as horror movies completely shunned when it comes to Academy Awards?
Well, especially back then. I mean, before Silence of the Lambs, you didn't get an Academy Award.
Or Jaws, you could say that's horror.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park is horror.
Well, in Jurassic Park, that's when.
But there's no Academy Awards though dished out for those actors,
There really
other than Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you ask me, no one watches Academy Awards. No one cares anymore. We're living in a different world. But I think if Academy Awards really wanted to get back to people watching, they would have a category for Best Horror Sci-Fi Picture. Why can't you have that? Nobody cares about Best Foreign Picture. No one cares.
Nobody.
They even cut it out of the show.
But you know why?
No one cares.
Because, not as much now, but through the 90s, a majority of those horror films that we all love were non-union. They're not part of the Academy. And that's because they don't want to follow the rules of a bunch of...
and what is this?
That is the Pazuzu head.
Is that the real one?
No, it's created by me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then we have Aliens.
Of course.
And then we have a section where you have a lot of screen use.
So this is all my career. This is my B-movie
King
film career.
of the Bees.
Yeah.
Tom Devlin is the king of the bees.
That's how self-proclaimed. Self-proclaimed.
I think what's his name from Traumaville would take that claim, or ZC movies. Lloyd Kaufman.
Lloyd, right there. This is a trauma film, and Lloyd is one of the greatest humans.
We have to also remember what's his name that did Death Race 2000. Roger Corman.
Roger Corman.
Yeah, he's B all over the place.
Of course.
So you have George Romero.
Yeah. We got a lot
All
of
the
George Romero
autographs.
stuff. I love Night of the Living Dead. I love Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead.
Now, what really gets me in here is, like, as a horror fan growing up, I was big, you know, there was 2 movies that this company made, Full Moon, that I liked. One was...
Castle Freak.
No.
Oh, really?
No, Subspecies.
Oh, Subspecies is great.
Subspecies, because they shot in, like, real castles.
Yeah.
To me,
So Charlie
Subspecies.
Mann owned the castle in Romania that they shot Subspecies at, and they also shot Castle Freak there. Those 2 movies were classics. And then, of course, you can't talk about Full Moon without talking about Puppet Master.
And without Puppet Master, and they want to remake this.
Yeah,
I
they
think.
did. They did already. It's
And you got a Nazi wolf, and these are all
so this
the
is
originals.
Wehrmacht. So from Wehrmacht on are all screen-used originals. That Mephisto, Torch, and 6-shooter I made just because I never got to make those versions for the
But you
film.
made all of these.
I made everything here, yeah. These are all... So this is a full animatronic Pinhead. That's a full animatronic Blade. That's a full animatronic Blade from Blade the Iron Cross. This
And what would you say, like, this is worth?
So
If
I was offered $20,000 for that blade from the Seattle Mopop Museum, and I turned it down because I have it in my own little museum. And I made these are my childhood consists of 2 films that I wanted to be a part of, and that was Toxic Avenger and Puppet Master. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't have dreams to work on Jurassic Park. I didn't have dreams to work on big budget, although my career started backwards. My first film was Scorpion King. You know, I worked on Terminator 3, Daredevil, The Tuxedo, huge movies. But I wanted to do this crap. And so for the last 14 years, I've worked for Full Moon, and I got to do...
They don't make movies anymore,
Yes,
right?
yeah,
They do?
100%. We did Blade in 2019. So these are... I did the last 3 Puppet Master films, and this is the actual screen-used trunk that I built, and all the little...
Is that a screen-used Toxic Avenger?
No, this is Elephant Man from an Asylum movie called Freak Show. You can see my inspiration.
Yeah, I was
from
just
Toxic.
looking at it from the side.
There is a Toxic Avenger mask in here that Troma used for...
Obey.
Yeah, these guys are from They Live. I got the chance to work with Roddy Piper before he died, and that was incredible. He was great.
This movie means more now. Like
Yes.
with the government trying to
This
tell you what to
movie-
think and
this
do.
movie is the most pertinent piece of social commentary.
Yeah, I know. People need to watch it.
it
And
should-
so they won't go for all these, like,
Yeah.
socialistic things, you know. Obey. But that movie has an undertone, you know, and it's become like a cult classic
yeah.
now. But people hated the movie when it came out.
Yeah.
Roddy Piper. Then you got Ghoulies.
Ghoulies 2.
And then they need to remake
Killer
this.
Clowns from Outer Space. They need to make a sequel. I don't think they should remake it. But,
They should definitely do a sequel.
These are actually masks I sculpted for Trick or Treat Studios.
Why do you think, like, they haven't been able to make a sequel
Because
to
the
that?
3 brothers that are in control of this property can't get along.
Oh, is that right?
That's what it comes down to.
So you
I
work
think.
a lot for Trick or Treat Studios?
I did 4 different masks for them, and these are 2 of them.
You sculpted these?
Yes, yeah.
Amazing. Did you sculpt them here in your shop?
No, I actually went to Mississippi and sculpted them with Justin Mabry. He was working on Stretch, and I worked on Shorty. And then I did sculpt Fatso here at my shop.
All right, and then of course we have the Toxic
Toxic
Avenger,
Avenger.
which I love that movie.
So this headpiece is Troma used to travel around with that mask, but I never got to actually make the costume.
Now, you know, you got John Berryman over here, and you
Michael
got
Berryman.
Michael Berryman, my bad, and then you have, you know, his live
And
cast.
that's from a movie that I worked on with him called Ed Gein, the Butcher of Plainsfield.
And then, of course, you know, he kind of was famous for Hills Have Eyes,
Yeah.
which really is a movie that a lot of people don't know until they remade it.
Sure.
But I think he's most famous for one movie and one movie only.
Weird Science.
Weird Science.
Yeah.
Weird Science.
Weird Science. Please don't tell him I'm a teacher.
Weird
Michael
Science.
Berryman is awesome. We did a movie called The
Is
Evil
he still
Within
alive?
Together. Yeah, he lives in Ocala, Florida.
Okay. And then here's Hills Have Eyes
This is
here.
Michael Bailey Smith from the remake of Hills Have Eyes.
And of course, you have all their autographs. And then you have the Pinhead, and
Hellraiser.
Butterball, and that one is
Chatter.
Chatter.
So these guys are brand new in the museum and they're not finished. They should have some hooks. He doesn't have his hooks in his face.
But tell me, why do you not have the female one?
She's not done yet.
Oh,
But
you're
she's-
making her.
Yes, yeah.
And what's her name?
I don't remember, but she's got a wire
Yeah.
pulled on her head.
Now, they're trying to remake Hellraiser, but if it
Yes.
doesn't have Doug Bradley, I don't want to watch it. Because to me, Doug Bradley is Pinhead.
But did you watch Judgment?
Yeah, I
Paul
don't.
T. Taylor plays Pinhead so good in Hellraiser Judgment.
I just can't get past
The
like.
problem is this. Before Judgment, they had another guy for that, whatever that crappy Hellraiser movie was, where the guy had like the jar head, he didn't look anything like Pinhead, he didn't talk like him, didn't look like him. Paul T. Taylor does a phenomenal job.
But isn't like the new remake supposed to be a female Pinhead?
It is. They're doing that in Canada. And I don't know if I want to see that either.
I don't know.
But I will say Gary Tunnicliffe is doing all the effects, and he might be directing.
But hold on, I have to ask you an important question. There's been so many Hellraisers. Which one's your favorite?
Part
4?
Everybody hates Bloodlines.
What?
I love Bloodlines.
The best Hellraisers, Part 2,
Part
hands
2's great.
down.
Part 2's great.
There you said there, dude. I can't even believe you said
love
that.
Bloodlines.
Oh my God, you are really a B guy
But
for
I'm one
sure.
of my own. I don't know another person who would agree.
You ask anybody, they'll say Hellraiser 2.
Sure.
Because the coolest one was the doctor guy.
Sure.
When he got ground in his head, he's like, you know,
That's
like that was
all
so
very
neat.
true. But I love Bloodlines.
And all the scenes in hell.
You know what? It comes from a spot where, like, I was too young to be allowed to watch Part 4 when I saw it.
All right, but hold on a second. I got to ask you one question to see if we can even continue this tour. Phantasm. Which Phantasm is the best?
I will stand by Part 1 till the end of the world, but
What?
I love Part 2. I love Part 2.
Part 2 is
But-
the
But
best.
here's the thing. So then, Evil Dead. Which one's the best?
Part 2.
Part 1.
Part 2.
You gotta understand that a 19 and a 20-year-old went to the woods in Michigan and made a movie we're still talking about.
Well, you know
That's what Part
I
1
totally
is.
get now. I can.
Don Coscarelli going out and making Phantasm 1, the most non-linear fucking bullshit movie anybody's ever seen, and now there's 4 sequels?
But Evil
That
Dead.
is so important.
Evil Dead is still like 2 is still kind of a low budget.
Yes,
it's just,
it is. But
it's just
low budget, but not.
But it's
not
better.
Low budget. I mean, it's $2 million.
And by the way,
That's a lot different than $150,000.
I heard that it was going to be a complete remake, but they couldn't get the rights
Sure.
to the first one,
Yeah.
and so they had to rewrite it. And I think it actually turned out better.
I do love bullshit. I love the
Well, what
bullshit.
about Army of Darkness? That's the king of all B movies when you think about it.
Yeah, but it's
like a high budget B
$5
movie.
million budget. There's unions involved. There's it's a lot. I like it. I wouldn't want to work on that. I'd rather work on Evil Dead.
Yeah.
I want to be in the muck. I want to be in the cold, and I want to fight to make this thing that people talk about.
You are the king of the B.
Yeah.
You are the. I'm seeing that now. Because, like, I like Phantasm 1, don't get me
I
wrong.
love it. And then
But-
the dirt bike.
and by the way,
If
I was
there's a dirt bike in a
friends-
movie, I love it.
I was friends with Angus Scrim.
That's awesome.
I used to talk to him all the time.
That's awesome. I'm good buddies with Reggie, but he's not doing so well right now. But I
Yeah.
love Reggie and Gigi.
You just can't make Phantasm without Angus Scrim. I'm sorry.
You just can't make Phantasm 2 without Phantasm 1.
And you can't have Phantasm without Reggie
Sure.
and Angus Scrim.
Sure.
Now I am not a fan of the Scream movies.
No?
I absolutely
God, I love
despise
Part 1.
them.
I love Part 1.
Because the villain is like always falling and tripping on stuff and
Yeah.
letting people get away.
It's fun.
He gets stabbed and then he keeps going even though he's it's just like silly. Leatherface, I was good friends with Gunnar Hansen.
Yeah, he's great.
He came to my haunted house 3 or 4 times.
So I worked on the game. This is a game coming out, and this is the saw they used for the motion capture. And those are the boots. Kane Hodder plays Leatherface in the game, and I sculpted both those on Kane's head.
Oh, when's the game coming out?
It doesn't have a release date yet, but I sculpted both those heads so he could get a feel of what Gunnar felt like, and I was kind of there to help him stay like Gunnar.
Awesome.
You know?
So we got okay. So I have this question for you. What's your favorite Leatherface type movie? Texas Chainsaw. Which one?
Part 1,
Part 1.
hands down, and then Part 3.
Part 3.
I love Part 1 and Part 3.
My favorite is Part 2
Part 2 is great.
because Bill Moseley.
Oh, he's awesome.
You know, it's like you hog bitch, you dynamite plate, you hog. But you get that bitch? You get that bitch? I got. You know, it's like I just love Chop Top.
Yeah.
And then, when you're talking about B, dude, it's like Dennis Hopper couldn't have been more over the
he's the
top
best.
with 2 chainsaws, and he's got them like guns. Okay, come on, dude, you don't get any more B than that.
I love Part 2.
loved Part 2. It was hilarious, and what was great about it is that Tobe Hooper directed it
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So,
And it's the movie he wanted to make. And
and what's your favorite Friday the 13th?
my favorite Friday the 13th is Part 4.
Part 4, and is that the one with Corey Feldman?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a perfect slasher film in my mind. I'm not really allowed to say that because I work with Kane Hodder on a regular basis, and he'll punch me in the face if he hears me say that I like part 4. But I do, and I love part 7 because John Buechler is one of my favorite effects artists.
And he
of all
just
time.
passed away.
Yeah, he passed away.
What do you think my favorite Jason movie is?
Part 6.
No, part 1.
Part 1.
Part 1 with Kevin Bacon.
You said Jason movie.
Well, you know, he's in it. He's in it at the end. It's the best one, hands down.
No, it's great.
Because it's like a real, authentic movie.
And it's also what I was saying about The Evil Dead. I mean, that was a bunch of young guys going out and making something that has become global.
And you know what my second favorite one is? And I don't know why. It's just so stupid. Is this one?
I love Jason.
Because I loved it when...
I loved
it when he was like... He's using his armor to, you know, like go through the atmosphere, and then he lands in Crystal Lake. Oh, let's go check it out. It's like it all starts over again. I loved it when he put the girl's face in the acid.
Oh yeah, and smashes.
And then he shatters her face. But my favorite scene in the whole movie was the black guy.
Screwdriver.
No, the black guy when he was like and he survived to the end. Remember he rode Jason in, okay, into Camp Crystal Lake. But my favorite part was when he goes, that won't kill this old bird. And then Jason stabs him with the second one. He goes, that might do it. You know, that was like just classic. The movie's so dumb. And it has like X-Men, you know, where there's like a thing where Jason's confused. Remember when he's like beating the women over and over again in the gunny sacks?
Yeah.
It was just, that is a beat movie.
Kane wears this costume at conventions and this costume at conventions. And this is a picture of him wearing the Part 8 one.
Patty, have you seen many movies from that
I've
Friday the
not
13th?
seen as many movies as you guys.
Okay. Are you impressed that I know a lot
I'm
about
glad
these
you
movies?
do.
Okay.
You're the right audience.
Don't know who this is.
You have to watch this. This is about
What?
haunted attractions.
What is it called?
It's called Haunt.
I might have seen it.
No,
Was it on Netflix or
It's
something?
on Shudder, and it's incredible. You have to watch Haunt.
Okay.
You own a haunted attraction. You've got to watch Haunt.
And then we have
Behind the Mask.
Behind the Mask, Leprechaun.
That's my second favorite figure in the museum.
Patty is a big fan of a TV show, and this movie gave this woman her start.
Oh, Friends, yeah.
Yeah, Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston.
She was the main character
She was.
in Leprechaun.
She had some sweet LA Gear hot tops.
And I liked Leprechaun. I wasn't a big fan of 1, but I like more of I like Leprechaun in the Hood.
Oh, that's good.
That was funny.
I love Leprechaun 1, Leprechaun 3 in Vegas. I love Leprechaun 2. Actually, the reason I did her stores was because of Leprechaun 2, because it's in the movie.
And then, of course, you got Bruce Campbell. You got his autograph. Yeah. I'm a huge Evil Dead fan. I'm not so much a Chucky fan because I just feel like if he came at me, I would just kick him, and that would be the end of him, you know? And so,
what about Maniac Cop?
Well, you know, of course, you got Michael Myers, and you got a big collection of Michael Myers stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no one hotter back in the day than PJ Souls.
Totally.
And they've made songs about her.
Yeah.
You know, where did PJ Souls go or whatever. And then, but my favorite movie of hers was Stripes.
Yeah.
You know, she was pretty hot in that movie. But yes, this is the man with the weirdest chin.
Robert Zadar.
Yeah, in all of Hollywood. And a lot of people, and you typically just played bad guys.
Yeah, or...
And can you imagine him is he still alive?
No, he passed away.
So can you imagine him if he was alive today with all the comic book movies?
Oh,
like
yeah.
they would have him loaded up.
Yeah.
Like playing like these like strange looking, yeah.
He's great.
Yeah. Maniac Cop. And then of course you got Critters, which gave a famous actor his start.
Leonardo
DiCaprio. Are you shocked that I knew that?
No. I would expect you to.
And then you got Freddy, of course.
Yes, the Freddy room.
The Freddy Krueger. I'm not sure.
That's Super Freddy.
I know,
part
Super
5.
Freddy. That was part 5.
Michael
Okay.
Bailey Smith played
They all blend together to me after the first one.
Yeah.
My favorite Freddy Krueger movie, honestly, is just the first one.
Yeah.
Where he spent less time on screen. And when you think about Michael Myers, he spent less time on screen in the first one. He killed the fewest people. Did you like the new Michael Myers movie?
I did.
I hated it.
Yeah.
Because he was just like a killing machine.
I thought it was fun.
It was fun, but like it's not scary. He just went around killing everything.
I just don't get scared anymore, so I don't know. Whether it's scary or not, it was fun.
I like Johnny Depp.
Yeah, Johnny Depp got his start. A lot of famous celebrities got their start in horror movies. Now, I am excited to hear about this character here, Beetlejuice, getting remade or getting a sequel.
Yeah.
And with Winona Ryder, unfortunately, some of those people are not around anymore.
Yeah.
And who knows if they would cast?
Jim Jeffries again.
No.
Michael Keaton.
No. The guy who just killed somebody on the set.
Oh yeah, Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
And then of course Gina Davis. She's still around.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. And then the one lady, because she was in Home Alone, she's still around.
Oh yeah.
So they could get all those characters, but the one guy, he's dead now. The father, what was his name?
I don't know if
He was in Ferris Bueller, but he got accused of like.
Yeah, there was some child pornography.
Yeah, so he can't come back.
No.
And then Alec Baldwin, I don't know.
But that wasn't really his fault.
Yeah, I don't think it was his fault either, but he got all the heat and then he didn't respond well on the media.
Yeah.
So this is Tim Curry, who's making an appearance at Monsterpalooza.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then, because he had a stroke or something.
Yeah, he's had a couple.
And so now he's like, I guess he's getting better.
Yeah, that's good.
And then this would be his
That's the oldest figure in the museum. I made that over 20 years ago.
live cast and autograph, and then Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah, Tarman.
And then Creepshow is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Me too.
Hated the second one.
Yeah.
Okay. But of all the segments in Creepshow, which one's your favorite? And did you work on Creepshow?
No, I was like 7.
Okay. So what's your favorite segment of Creepshow?
God, I love every bit of it. Probably the cake.
The cake.
Either the cake or Fluffy. You know, Fluffy is awesome.
I love them all as well.
Adrienne Barbeau. This is the problem I had because I love Swamp Thing, and I was in love.
And
with
she
her.
was in Swamp
I was
Thing.
in love with her, but then in
And Escape from New York.
but in Creepshow she's such a
And The Fog.
bitch, and she's like. And it was like, oh, you're killing my crush here. Like, this is horrible. So Fluffy one's tough for me, but I love the monster in it.
My favorite segment in Creepshow was the roaches.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like because the guy was so funny.
Yeah.
You know, he was calling over and over again, complaining about the roaches and spraying them.
Yeah.
I mean, and then I liked them all. Like, you know, the one with Stephen King.
Oh, it was the best with the meteor shit.
Yeah, just like, and he says, "Don't itch it," and he does. He can't help himself.
Yeah.
The next day, the whole planet's green.
That's awesome.
And then I love the one under the stairs, the monster under the stairs,
Fluffy.
and I love the cake. And in the darkness, I have a homage to that because we have a scene, and there's a wheelchair. Right? And so you can ride the wheelchair down the darkness staircase, an actor can. And then he presses a button and he goes, "I want my cake."
That's
you know?
awesome.
So I love that segment. "You bitch, bring me my cake."
He's
You know?
slamming his cake.
But and then you also just have to, in Creepshow, you just have to love like the comic book entry into it.
And I love anything with Tom Atkins. And
Yeah.
Tom Atkins is the angry dad.
So one final question for you, since we're talking about horror and everything else. What is your favorite horror movie, since you seem to love them so much?
Monster Squad.
Monster Squad, yeah. Have you ever heard of the pinball machine Monster Bash?
Oh yeah.
Very similar.
Yeah.
But Monster Squad is your
Monster
favorite
Squad.
movie.
You get all the classic monsters with a little slight 80s upgrade. It's my favorite. Like it came out in 1986 or 85. I was 5 or 6 years old, and we used to rent it on VHS every weekend. I love Monster Squad.
Monster Squad, your favorite movie. You know what? I'm going to say a favorite horror movie just to one-up you. It's not my favorite horror movie.
You're just going to pick it.
But yeah, I'm going to just say this one, okay? Because I'm going to one-up your Monster Squad.
Okay.
Saturday the 14th.
That's good.
Because it has all the same characters.
All the same characters.
Right? And it has like a little bit of comedy.
Yeah.
And remember the trailers. If you thought Friday the 13th was bad, Saturday the 14th is worse. Right? Did you like Saturday the 14th?
Yeah. That's a good one.
So I'm just saying that one
But
to
it's not
one up
the
you.
adventure that Monster Squad is.
Yeah.
Monster Squad.
Monster Squad's like a monster version of Goonies.
It's a monster version of Goonies.
Or Stand By Me or something like that.
It's the perfect buddies meet monsters. I mean, that's like my life dream.
Just to work on that movie.
To be that kid in the movie. Like, to live the movie.
So you're living the dream, and Tom, thanks for the tour.
Hey,
thanks for showing us. I think this is an incredible video. I mean, it's exciting to see people like you just living the dream.
Yeah, well, you're living the dream too.
Different way. It's more stressful.
I think that you confuse my happy demeanor with lack of stress.
Hey, well, thanks a lot, Tom, and until next time, happy Halloween, brother.
All right, man. Have a good one.